you this morning. Good morning. My name is Ayodele-Bamisaiye, coming to you live from our offices here at Dexteritas Professional Corporation. It's another amazing Friday morning. I get to talk about all things enterprise and personal finance. Um, this year I got started in January talking about the money mindset. February, we've been talking about earning capacity. You can check out some of those live streams to bring yourself up to speed about our conversations we've been having since the beginning of the year. Today, we are looking at the resetting financial priorities for growth. It's a thing, right? But before we jump into that, I want to remind us that my friends at the Financial Empowerment Initiative Network are happy to serve modest income members of the community with tax filing services. So, if you live in Calgary or you live in Edmonton and your family income is $50,000 or less, you do not have to pay to have your tax returns filed. My friends at the Financial Empowerment Initiative are in Calgary at the Calgary Full Gospel Church on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, starting from the first Tuesday in the month of March. I believe that's supposed to be March 5. I may be wrong. But the first Tuesday in the month of March will be at the Calgary Full Gospel Church, and we will be providing free tax filing service to modest income members of the community. If you happen to live in Edmonton, the tax clinic will be happening at the offices of the Africa Center, and it will be happening on Thursdays and Fridays. Both locations run from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. And we provide both virtual and in-person services. So if you want to book an appointment virtually, send an email to taxes@thefei.ca. And if you want to show up in person, show up in Calgary at the Calgary Full Gospel Church Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays in the month of March and April between 10 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. so that we can be done with your tax return before 3 p.m. at the latest. And if it's in Edmonton, at the Africa Center in Edmonton, on Thursdays and Fridays, also between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Who was there last night? Founders Lounge was a bang. We had the business clinic. I have to be honest, I had no idea how the business clinic will run. My perspective was simple. I wanted people to be able to share business problems, and I wanted them to be able to get help there and then. And I had no idea how it was going to work. But I spoke to my friends, and I spoke to my panelists, and I spoke to the founders, and everybody put in their piece, and we came out with a beautiful event. I want to thank Dozie Ayegbanam of the Newcomers Pod for running the anchor. I want to thank all the panelists, David Daigle, Amaka, Buki Wonder, and the Queen of Automation, Tolu Amadi herself. Those were my panelists yesterday, and the kind of feedback they provided was the stuff that leaves you asking questions that could get you better answers. And thank you very much, Folu Moye, Ezra representing Lit Care Connect, and definitely Mr. Abiodo Oduni for just coming to tell us your story and taking the feedback that the room was able to provide. I had fun doing that. And the next Founders Lounge will be back sometime in March 19th to be precise. I will tell you what that will look like in a few days. But watch out, I'll have pictures on LinkedIn of what yesterday looked like, but that was just a lot of fun. So, on to resetting financial priorities for growth. You can make good money, optimize your finances, and still stagnate. Did you get that? Because the issue is not income, really. It's what you're optimizing for. The fact is, the American dream or the Canadian dream or the urban dream or whatever we call it, it's about the good life, right? You want to, have the house, have the car, have the title, have the job, and live in the laps of luxury. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly all right. However, there's a time, there's a way to go about it. So today I want to talk about financial priorities and say, hey, how are we thinking about our financial priorities from a lifestyle and an earning capacity perspective? So this is what's at the heart of this matter. When you're thinking about money, most of the time you're thinking about how you are going to spend it. You're thinking about how you're going to enjoy it. You're thinking about how you're going to, make the most out of it in terms of consumption. And that's just natural. But what we find out is that when it comes to, growing wealth, increasing your wealth, the norm doesn't exactly work. So you have to kind of take an anti approach, to being able to get to that place where you can say, okay, I've been able to build a chunk of cheese for myself and for the people around me. If your income stops tomorrow, what would remain? What would you have left? Right? Would you have skills and assets? Or will you have just bills? Like bills. Is that going to be your situation? So the shift that I'm asking us to think about is I'm asking us to begin to say, hey, how do I optimize more for expansion rather than consumption? How do I optimize more for growth rather than for lifestyle? Because the truth is, with lifestyle, you are where you are at. But with growth, you can build more, buy more lifestyle, as long as you have the growth in place. So, what I'm asking us to think about today is, how do we make that shift from optimizing for lifestyle and comfort to optimizing for growth and expansion? Because growth guarantees lifestyle and comfort, but lifestyle and comfort will kill growth every day and twice on Sunday. That's a fact. Nobody grows when they're comfortable. You need some prodding, you need some discomfort. The mother bird will pick up the chick that's not flying and just drop her off the nest and say, hey, kiddo, you gotta fly. When you hit age 18 in North America, your parents are like, okay, are you off to college or are you getting a job and getting a place? So what's the plan? You start to have those conversations because the expectation is that you are supposed to grow and it takes discomfort to grow. So if you're optimizing for comfort as far as your finances are concerned, then you are definitely not planning to grow. I know that is hard to hear, but that's the reality. So how do we optimize for expansion? Number one, we are thinking skills over status. What can you do? It's great to have an amazing title. It's great to have a corner office. But you know what? If they took away the title and they took away the corner office, who exactly are you and what can you deliver in the marketplace? That's a question that you need to answer for yourself. Are you spending to appear successful, or are you spending to become more capable? Skills compound, status depreciates, because irrespective of who you are, eventually you're going to have to retire. But your skills will stay with you all the days of your life, as long as you have the physical and mental capacity to execute. Irrespective of your age, your skills remain relevant. That's why judges never go out of work. That's why accountants can maintain their career for as long as they want, as long as they choose to continue to work and they have the physical and mental faculty to be able to deliver. What's the next thing I want us to look at? Leverage over labor. This is one that I hear people talk about all the time. You need to break the connection between time and money. Your employer pays you for sitting at your desk 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and that's that. The question is that all you can do? Or can you begin to say, hey, if I deliver to you 10,000 units of X, then you'd pay me Y, irrespective of whether it took me 5 minutes or 50 hours or 50 years, right? If you still want it after 50 years. So, are you increasing the hours, or are you building a system or capacity that ensures that you can deliver? Because the market values delivery over effort. The market says, hey, if you can guarantee that I get this amount at this location on this date, how you get it done is your problem, then I'm going to pay you this. And that's what the market says. But if you say to the market, hey, I have 8 hours, give me a spot to be at for 8 hours, then you will earn an income, but that's just going to be about all it is. So there's nothing wrong with earning an income for your time, but it definitely can be very different if you earn for delivering an outcome. So leverage over labor. And that means that you are thinking about, okay, how am I putting myself in a position where I'm rewarded for outcomes rather than effort, right? So you're looking at ownership, you're looking at intellectual property, you're looking at assets, you're looking at revenue that scales, that doesn't require your time and effort. So you build something, you sell that thing. The same one thing, you sell it over and over. That's why everybody talks about digital products. Then you're thinking assets over income. Hello. So you're saying, hey, I have a job that pays me. Great. Can I write a book? Make some music? Develop software as a service? Connect people that have skills with the people that need the skills, build a platform. That puts you in a situation where, irrespective of where you are at and what you are doing, you have created an asset that earns you income on an ongoing basis. Make no mistake, this is not easy. The reason why fewer people do it is because it's the more difficult route. Discomfort is not something that everybody wants to experience. But if you are going to build a financial foundation, you are going to experience some discomfort. Whether it's a discomfort of learning a skill or discomfort of building an asset, you are going to go through that. So you have to come away from your aversion to discomfort. Of course, there are also the other choices that you need to make around your finances, like you just saying, hey, you know what, I am going to invest in my skill set. I'm going to invest in developing a skill. So that takes money away from comfort, right? So that opportunity cost really is what I'm addressing this morning. And all I'm saying is that, hey, expansion will feel slower, right, than comfort and lifestyle. That is true. But I can tell you for free that by the time expansion has created growth that now creates cash flow and wealth, comfort has nothing left to offer because it's all said and done. So the exponential growth, the acceleration that skills, assets that arise from an expansionary mindset create is the kind of situation that makes you say, okay, dear boss, thank you for a great time. I would like to focus on what I have built. But if you build nothing, you earn and you spend on comfort and lifestyle. And then if anything happens to that income, what you are looking at is not skills and assets, it's bills, bills, bills. So, what can you do to make a difference for yourself from this perspective? Number one, growth isn't necessarily about earning more. It's about choosing what you optimize for. So you're going to do something practical. How about taking 10% of your earnings and saying, okay, am I going to use this to build a skill set? Am I going to use this to look into building an asset? How can I make a change and begin to head in the direction of growth and expansion rather than the cushy lifestyle of comfort that could potentially lead to bills, bills, bills. So that's my thought for you this morning. I know it's not explosive, and ground shaking, but it's a thought that can change your life. So take your time, think about it, and make a decision. But I want you to make a decision in your own informed self interest. That's about it for me this morning. My name is Ayodele-Bamisaiye. It's been an exciting time for me talking about growth this morning, a growth mindset as far as financial priorities are concerned. I'll be back next week, and I think that's going to be the last one talking about earning capacity, wrapping with the month of February. I look forward to having you then, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, and bye for now.